Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you're out there managing a tall fescue lawn in North Carolina, man, I know exactly what you're going through right now. You've basically just survived a brutal summer, and now it's early fall and, well, you're probably staring at a yard full of thin patches, bare spots, and grass that just looks totally exhausted. It's incredibly frustrating, right? But hey, don't worry. Today, we're going to dive into exactly how to rescue that battered turf. We're embarking on a full-blown fescue recovery journey, really digging into the science and the strategy behind rebuilding your yard so it doesn't just survive, it actually thrives.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap today. First, we'll talk about the fescue summer struggle, then the fall rescue plan. After that, we'll break down the timeline, the short-term messy start, the medium-term where we're building roots, and finally the long-term payoff, which is next summer's resilience.
All right, let's jump right into part one, the fescue summer struggle.
Okay, look at these three massive hurdles right here: heat, drought, and heavy red clay. These are literally the brutal enemies of your North Carolina fescue. You see, tall fescue is a cool season grass, meaning it really wants to grow in the mild temps of spring and fall. But when that relentless Carolina summer hits, it is a huge shock to the system. You combine sky-high temperatures and totally unpredictable rainfall with that super heavy compacted red clay, which is pretty much everywhere in the Piedmont and Charlotte areas, and your turf's root system is basically suffocating out there.
Now, this is a part I found absolutely fascinating. It comes down to the physical biology of the grass itself. Tall fescue is a bunch-type grass. What does that mean? Well, unlike warm-season grasses that shoot out these little runners to aggressively spread and heal their own bare patches, fescue just grows in isolated clumps. So if the summer heat and drought wipe out a patch of your lawn, the fescue physically cannot spread sideways to fill that empty space. Once it's dead, it's gone. That's why jumping in with new seed is absolutely mandatory. The grass literally can't fix itself.
Which brings us to our next step. Section 2, the fall rescue plan.
The foundation of this whole rescue mission starts with core aeration. Now, what actually is that? It's not just poking tiny holes in the dirt. Core aeration is the physical removal of these small plugs or cores of soil directly out of your lawn. This is absolutely crucial for dealing with that compacted red clay. By pulling those plugs, you're creating literal pathways deep into the soil. That instantly improves the flow of air, water, and essential nutrients straight down into the root zone, which is exactly where the plant needs it most. And right on the heels of aeration is the second half of the plan, overseeding. This is where we introduce a blend of brand new tall fescue seeds straight into your existing turf. The goal here is to ramp up that density and patch up all the summer damage. But here's a pro tip, and NC State Extension is really adamant about this. You don't want to use just one type of seed. You want a blend of different tall fescue cultivars. Mixing them up gives your lawn this incredibly broad genetic base, giving it a much better fighting chance against environmental stress, disease, and drought. Now watch how beautifully these steps stack together. Step 1, the aeration machine rips out those compacted soil plugs, physically opening up the earth. Step 2, overseeding immediately drops a fresh blend of seed all over the lawn. And step 3 is where the real magic happens. Those fresh aeration holes create the absolutely perfect little microenvironment for the new seed to make direct contact with the top 1/8 inch of exposed soil. That is exactly the sweet spot NC State recommends for optimal germination. These two services, they are literally designed to work perfectly together.
Okay, moving on to Section 3, short term, the messy start.
Managing expectations here is huge, you guys, because a lot of people expect an instant, magic transformation, and that's just not how biology works. On day 1, your lawn is going to look pretty rough. It'll be disturbed, with messy soil plugs scattered everywhere. But stick with it. By week 2, assuming you're giving it consistent moisture, you're going to start seeing these tiny little seedlings germinating. And then right around week 4, those thin, struggling areas will gradually begin filling in and looking like a real lawn again. You just got to have a little patience.
And hey, seriously, whatever you do not panic about those messy dirt plugs sitting all over your yard. I know, it kind of looks like a giant flock of geese just absolutely took over the lawn, but those little soil cores are incredibly beneficial. As they dry out and naturally break down over the first few weeks, they're returning vital soil and nutrients right back into the turf system. So yeah, it's a slightly ugly phase, but trust me, it is a completely essential part of the recovery process.
All right, let's look at Section 4, medium term, building roots.
Now this right here is a massive aha moment directly from the End State extension. They point out that getting a super fast, bright green lawn in the fall shouldn't actually be your main goal. Believe it or not, a slower fall greening is usually a sign of a much better developed plant. If it's taking its time up top, it's because it is pouring all its energy into growing deep underground. Stronger, deeper roots mean your grass is going to be way more likely to survive disease and drought stress when that brutal summer heat comes back around.
So while your lawn might look like it's just taking a nap over the winter, it is actually working overtime beneath the surface. Those cooler months are the perfect time for deep root systems to establish themselves. And as those new plants mature, the overall density of your turf increases. That's a huge deal because a really thick, dense canopy acts like a natural shield, shading out the soil and making it super hard for pesky winter weeds to establish. All the while, those aeration holes from the fall are still hard at work, continuously improving how water drains through that stubborn clay.
Which leads us nicely to Section 5, the long term, next summer's resilience. You see, the ultimate payoff for fall aeration and overseeding, it isn't just having a pretty lawn for Thanksgiving. It's the resilience your lawn is going to have next July. By making this investment in the fall, you're entering the hot season with massively improved turf density, literally just more plants occupying the space. You've built a rock-solid foundation to recover from heat, brown patch disease, and all that summer foot traffic. Plus, because you've relieved that root zone compaction, when you do get those random heavy summer thunderstorms, your soil can actually absorb the rain instead of just letting it run off down the driveway. So that brings up a really crucial question we got to ask ourselves. Is aeration and overseeding just some sort of magic cure-all? And the honest answer? No, it's really not magic. Simply dropping new seed isn't going to fix underlying issues like severe shade, terrible drainage, extreme clay compaction, or totally depleted soil fertility. It also means you've got to do your part with the follow-up care. That new seedbed needs consistent moisture right away, and eventually you'll transition to about an inch of water a week once the turf is established. Oh, and you've got to follow the mowing rule. NC State specifically says to maintain fescue around 3.5 inches, and please never dip below 2.5. You also need to limit foot traffic and pause the weed control herbicides, because those chemicals will easily nuke your young seedlings. Basically, you've got to protect your investment.
So the key takeaway here is this. Rebuilding your fescue is not just a one-and-done project you cross off your to-do list. Every single year, the summer heat is going to take out some of your grass. Fall lawn care is an ongoing annual rhythm of nature.
You can really see this continuous cycle in motion right here. Fall is your crucial window to repair and rebuild whatever was lost in the heat. Winter is that quiet, focused period to develop those strong, deep roots. Spring gives you a burst of vibrant growth and lush density. And then summer? Summer is basically just about enduring the stress. It's a closed loop where every single season completely relies on the foundation you built in the season right before it.
Which leaves us with one final, really important thought to consider. Are you ready to stop wishing for an instant, overnight cosmetic fix and start doing the real biological work of investing in your lawn's survival for next summer? Because honestly, fall aeration and overseeding is the absolute best tool you have to turn that summer struggle into long-term success. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, good luck out there in the yard.